Good afternoon and welcome back to Gulfstream Park and welcome back to this Thursday edition of Gulfstream Today. I'm Gabby Gaudette, joined by the lovely Ron Nicoletti. Thank you for joining me once again this afternoon.
Lovely, thank you, man. Thank you very much. That's a good way to start the day. She's lying, but it's a good way to start the day.
Speaking of lovely, it's a lovely afternoon too. Boy, how the weather has changed the past couple of days here, and we're finally, the full card is on the turf.
We got a fast-made track. The turf course is listed as good, but as Gabby mentioned, we're on the turf throughout the afternoon, which is great news. A really strange weather pattern down here in South Florida this winter. We usually don't get this much rain. We've had rain the last couple of days, but what a gorgeous day. So I'm looking forward to a fun day, especially with our turf races.
It's a perfect afternoon, and looking at some of the wagers today, once again, we do have that super high five that does, the rolling super high five that does start in today's first race, as well as the early pick five that starts in today's first race as we move along throughout the afternoon. 20-cent Rainbow Pick Six does start in the fifth race. That was hit yesterday for over $44,000. That's some nice Christmas cash, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and how they did it, whoever got it deserves it. That was a tough sequence there. A couple of long shot plays in there. They played it perfectly. Lots of horses alive in the last leg, and one of the horses that was alive, the number 5, I think no wonder why I drink, I think the name of the horse was, won it. So what a great way to win it with.
Absolutely, and race 6 does round it out with the 50-cent late pick 5 as well. And we do have some rider changes this afternoon. Tyler Gaffalione and Edgar Zayas did take a spill yesterday, but it appears that they're okay. However, for precautionary reasons, will be off their mounts today.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be okay. We'll update you throughout the afternoon when we find anything else out about it, but it looks like good news for both those jockeys.
Okay, we'll get right into the action. 10 races on tap for this afternoon's program. Race 1 here at Gulfstream Park, an open 6,250,000 condition. 6 furlongs on the main track, and the 5 Corinthians Glory is going to be the mare to beat in this particular event. I'm trying to go against her, but I want to start off talking about this race and going back to that most recent replay at Gulfstream Park West that was on a sloppy sealed track today. Different conditions, were on a fast track. You look at this race too, and this is why I'm opting for one other horse in here, the 8 Phoebe Moon to the outside, because Phoebe Moon has just lost a tremendous amount of ground coming out of the stretch and was extremely wide going into the final turn. You obviously see the second place finisher, and your favorite today, the 5 Corinthians Glory, is the number 8 horse in here, and just couldn't quite hold sway to the finish line. Now getting to a fast track, I think might be vulnerable. Again, on paper, it does seem like the horse to beat, but I'm hoping that Phoebe Moon can turn the tables today.
Well, I use both the Corinthian Glory on top of my ticket along with Phoebe's Moon for all the reasons you mentioned with the taking that overland trip last time out. Corinthian's Glory is returning to her favorite racing surface. She's had 6 races here with 3 wins and a second after a pair of solid performances across town against this same caliber competition, which she won very impressively on the November 6th. And as you just saw, she was second in the slop last time out. Looks like the logical one. I split it with the number 7 horse in here, Candy's Lady, who I have on my ticket, is expected to show more after getting acclimated. I like this angle to South Florida conditions. When she shipped in from Hawthorne, finished 7th in that same race there behind Corinthians Glory. I'm expecting a positive move forward today. As you know, you coming from the north, it takes time to get used to the South Florida weather.
Yeah, absolutely. The 8 Phoebe Moon, you look at her track record, she's only 1 for 12 at Gulfstream. She's over 8 so far this year, so I'm taking a little bit of a shot here, and she will be a nice price. The only thing that concerns me here as well is, will she kind of run out of real estate? She has a tendency to get quite far back off the pace. Will she get that setup that she needs? I just hope that she can get a ground-saving trip. Unlike last time, she was really, really wide going into that final turn. With that said, we'll move on to the second race here. Maiden $16,000 event on the turf course at 1 mile. And the forward CR Destiny is going to be the top selection with the blinkers off. This horse should be well bet, just Javier Castellano money alone.
Exactly. Dropping to the $16,000 level and removing the blinkers again after showing early speed and retreating. But that was against $35,000 maidens going a mile in the 16th. It's a daughter of Notebook. She's 6 for 9 in the money on this course. And as you mentioned, Javier Castellano certainly adds to the appeal in there is going to be rationing her speed this afternoon. I like the fact that they took the blinkers off again. Try it, took them off, put them on again, and now off. So that looks like the logical choice in there to beat in there, and used it too. Well, look, we're in exact agreement in this second race. We both have the number 8 Reagan's Odyssey in second.
Yeah, looking at it, going back to the 4 here, though, I like the fact that the blinkers come off. It looks like this horse might have been a bit of an experiment. A while back, they tried the blinkers on, then they put them off again. Then last time out, they put the blinkers on. Once again, they're off. Last time out, she showed an abnormal amount of speed. She dueled early and faltered badly late, and I'm just hoping with the blinkers off and maybe a more patient ride, she can maybe stalk and then close, because it just doesn't look like that last race. It doesn't look like she wants to be in that kind of situation, dueling early.
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it, and that's why I really went to this horse, but mainly because the blinkers off. Of course, Javier Castellano doesn't help.
We'll go to the 8 Reagan's Odyssey here for Marcus Vitale, and you look at this 3-year-old filly. She was very close to the pace last time out. I went back and watched the replay, though, and it was kind of an awkward trip. She broke well. She was down on the inside rail. She was actually on the lead, and then she kind of took back out of that position. She lost her position on the rail, and she unfortunately had to make another kind of closing run. So I'm thinking with an outside post, they're just going to go to the lead and perhaps see what happens from there.
Yeah, and it's a daughter of Cantharos, and the sire, as we mentioned, second-year sire, doing very well on all different surfaces. So I got it on a ticket. And we also used the number 3 Star Shiner, who's debuting locally at this $16,000 level after facing, at least better claiming-wise at Ellis Park and Churchill Downs with limited success in there. Trainer's Buff Bradley finds a competitive spot, I believe, for this daughter of Indigo Shiner.
I think the class relief is going to help her, and she probably is getting to at least a little bit firmer of a surface. The turf is rated as good, but I would imagine it should be a little bit of moisture in it, but it might be a little bit firmer for her today than what she faced the past 2 starts. I think that could only help her, not hurt her.
And that's a good point you make yesterday, because you watched the 2 turf races that we did have on the turf. They were on the outside, and I didn't see any clods coming up. It looks like this turf course is going to be okay. I don't think it's any kind of a turf with a cut in it where it's going to be a detriment to horses that like it hard.
And it's been sunny and pretty breezy here this morning as well. We'll go on to the 3rd race, a $30,000 non-winners, a 2 lifetime claiming event, 6 furlongs to the main track. The 7 Loudon's Gray is interesting to me. I go to the way outside here. Turf to dirt angle. You look at this Gelding's past performances. You look at his race back on the 22nd of August, and then he came back in October. The turf to dirt angle, I thought that was one of his better races on form, a good second, even coming off of a freshening. We'll actually go back and take a look at that replay back there on the 24th of October. This was at Gulfstream Park West, and again, I thought this was interesting. I want you to pay close attention. He was unhurried at the start, so he was lengths off the pace, and then he kind of had to rally from off of the pace. He was given a right-hand encouragement just a few times at the top of the stretch. Didn't really get after this horse, and he was closing pretty significantly from off the pace, and then he kind of switched leads late and finished strongly. So again, I think this is a horse that can run well fresh. Turf to dirt angle, that's the angle I'm going with, but you have to respect the 6 Horder. This is a clear-cut example of this horse is dropping in class, and he should hold the class advantage here.
Yeah, he's dropping into this non-winners of 2 lifetime claimer. He faced tougher in a pair of $50,000 starter allowance races up at Belmont Park. Brian Lynch, we mentioned there's a couple of jockey changes today, and here comes one. Javier Castellano will ride number 6 Horder in here today. As we mentioned, those 2 jocks off their mounts this afternoon. Certainly Horder looks like the one to beat in there. And number 4, Breezy My Way, is another one that I think merits consideration in here.
Yeah, you look at this Colt's past performances, and he does seem like he has a little bit of natural early speed, whereas Horder, I think with the class relief, he shouldn't be too far off the pace, but with kind of these shorter fields, you never know how the pace is going to set up. That's why I kind of like the 4 Breezy My Way for the exacta, because he should be able to rate just off the pace. He's a winner here at Gulfstream, so I think, I'm taking a shot with the 7 Loudon's Gray, but like I said, the 6 Horder on the class drop alone is the horse to beat. You look at his last race at Belmont, and that was actually a pretty productive race. He was well bet. He went off at 3-1, I believe, the second choice in that event. Danzig Storm was a second-place finisher, and he went on to win a starter $50,000 race at Aqueduct. So the class itself is there, and he should be the horse to beat in here.
Another horse I just want to mention real quickly is the one Mock My Day. Has run well here in the past 2 starts, to win in his second, breaks from the rail. After making that mid-race bid last time out, he finished 7th behind a really hard-knocking horse called Bryan. That was a $12,500 state-bred optional claimer, of course, down. Eddie Plessis Jr., Paco Lopez. That is a tough race this horse is coming out of. Those are hard-knocking campaigners. Those 12-5 state-bred runners, you get some stakes quality, Florida stakes quality horses in those races.
Absolutely. We'll move on to the 4th race, a maiden 12,500 condition on the main track at 6 furlongs, and land to the inside, the one Blogosphere for trainer Dave Fox. And you look at this gelding's a couple of past races. His race on the 22nd of August, that was coming off a pretty significant layoff since March, and a lot of the time we see that be a tricky distance, the 7 furlongs off of a layoff. Sometimes they show speed and then it just falter late, and that's exactly what happened with this horse at the maiden $20,000 level. Now today, going back to the dirt, he's getting a class relief and he shortens up to the 3/4 distance. So I kind of like that angle. Gets the 5-pound apprentice Vicente Guriel in here as well. So I think those are all positives. Can't fault you for going to the 6 tailstone though.
Yeah, the tailstone is plunging to this $12,500 level after tracking the pace. If you look at its last race, was 5 wide, finished 4th. It was against $30,000 maidens going a mile at Churchill Downs. Mike Maker is the trainer. Javier Castellano handling the turn back to 3/4 of a mile. Boy, Javier Castellano better have a good day today, or I'm going to be wrong in a lot of races. Just some of the horses I picked with Javier, and he wasn't the jock named, but because of the 2 jocks that went down yesterday. Tailstone on top of my ticket. We both used the number 8 Abandoned Ship on our ticket also.
Yeah, this is a long-time maiden, but he has been pretty consistent in the past few starts. Now the Connections decided to go back to the main track where he used to be facing maiden $10,000 claimers. And again, this is a horse that might just pick up the pieces late, and he very well could be one of these horses that just finally wins after being a long-time maiden.
Well, I'm certainly going to go back and look at number 1 Blogosphere. I like the turf to dirt angle. Did not use that one on my ticket, but I'm going to go back and give that one another look.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. I have a nice little ticket today, and I also have a single, so that's always a positive. We'll take a look at it right after this. Welcome back to Gulfstream Park, and welcome back to Gulfstream today. We're going to be looking at the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. No carryover today, but it was a happy customer yesterday hitting the Rainbow 6 for over $44,000. That's some nice spending cash coming up on the holidays.
Yeah, a couple of good Christmas presents with that. And the beauty of it, it's a 20-cent wager. You don't know how much people put into the tickets, but whoever did that, it was a fine handicapping job, as I mentioned. A couple of long shots interspersed with the single that you actually had on your Rainbow 6 ticket that came in and maybe helped someone along. But there were a lot of horses alive, but the 5-horse got the job done. 44 grand plus.
Yeah, Tinto Mesa was kind of the overwhelming favorite in the sequence yesterday. If that horse didn't show up, I would imagine it wouldn't have paid out. But again, congratulations to the winning ticket holder yesterday. We'll get into the sequence today and taking a look at my ticket, $57.60, using 4 horses in the first leg of the sequence, 1, 3, 12, and the 14. As we get into the 6th race, using 3 horses, 1, 5, 11. I thought the 7th race was kind of a tricky race. Really, anybody could win that race, so I could have used even more horses, but just using 4, 8, 10, 11, 12, and that sequence, race 8, 3, 4, race 9, 8, 9, 10, and singling in the last race, a first-time starter. So that's a really bold single, but the statistics speak for itself, and we will actually talk about the statistics as we get to the final race on today. Bold single, though.
Well, talking about cold singles, when you see my early and late pick 5 last round, I'm singling the 3-horse in both of those tickets. So
okay.
I started, you started your single at the end, mine is in the beginning, so we'll see how that works out. And we both have the number 3 Indian Guide on top of our ticket. But I know you want to go back and show a performance from someone else.
Yeah, taking a look at race 5 here, you got to look at the horse, the 14 Divine Intrigue here, because he should be going off at a short price, if not the favorite. I want to go back and take a look at his maiden victory there on the 29th of July at Woodbine, and this was one of the more interesting replays that I've ever seen. You see in the short comment, if you're paying attention, lost irons driving, and that was definitely the case here. He's closing from off the pace, and this is a horse who put in a good effort in the start prior to that. And for some reason, I don't know, it doesn't even look like this horse switches lead, or he swaps leads a little bit there. The inside iron goes, and then the outside iron goes, and then finally he actually holds sway to fight off the closer from off the pace. And I thought that was actually a really gutsy victory there. He hasn't been on the turf since. He's been on the main track at Woodbine in the past couple of starts. So again, going back to the turf, I think this horse should be tough, but that outside post position, I had to go against him today.
Yeah, you go against it, but that's a great replay to show, just to have it on there. And that was what a job by the jock there to get his irons back and win. That was the most amazing thing. Let me tell you about the number 3 Indian Guy. Why I made this horse my single, as you'll see a little later on with my tickets. Now in the Pat Parente barn, or back in the Pat Parente barn. Gelded son of Cowboy Cal is returning to the conditioned claiming ranks after ending his summer campaign up at Woodbine on the turf with a troubled trip. You go back and look at this horse's last race. He was blocked in the stretch. It was against Allowance Company, which he finished 4th. He was placed 3rd in that race via Steward's decision. He broke his maiden on this course back in April, during the spring meeting. And I just thought this was the logical horse in here with everybody else in the race. Might have to rethink this a little bit. That 14 was so game in here, but I'm going to single the 3 Indian Guide on my ticket.
That's a bold single as well, but I do agree with you. I love this horse here today. Now, the only negative with this horse is that the 1 Better Run Real Fast will have speed from the rail, and I thought the 9 was going to pressure that early pace. Now with the 9 out, I do think the 1 might have tactical advantage from the rail, and you do see the 3 Indian Guide is kind of a deep closer. Now, will he get that type of setup, especially off some time away? That's my only question. With some of the scratches in here, I think it completely changes the strategy of the race. However, I do think class-wise and some of the trips that he's been coming out of, he might be just the best here. I agree with you. I do like the 1 Better Run Real Fast. I'll be using him in the sequence, again, with the scratch of the 9. I think he might be able to dictate from the rail.
Well, I'd be remiss in my duty if I didn't mention the 10 in here, and that's Two-Step Temper is dropping to this $30,000 two-lifetime claimer after facing mid-level claimers of competition in a pair of state-bred optional claimers across town. It's Mike Maker, and it's Javier Castellano. So keeping with the Javier Castellano theme, I thought I'd throw this in. I have him 3rd on the ticket, and as I mentioned, as you can tell by my analysis here, I really like the 3 in this spot. You made a good point with the 9 being scratched, may help the 1, but the 1 has a tendency of finishing 2nd all the time.
Yep, and a little no follow through there, but could dictate from the rail.
Right.
We'll go on to the 6th race, a maiden $16,000 event. 5 furlongs onto the turf course, and this is an interesting race as well. You get to these fields, and sometimes you have to use several different horses. The 5 Camerton Hall is going to be my top selection. I like the fact that this horse cuts back in distance. It just seems like he's been stretching out to a route of ground. He going a mile and a 16th, he showed speed and then just seemed to falter late. Now today on the cutback, perhaps the 5 furlongs might be a little bit too short, but I could definitely see this horse maybe sitting towards the back of the pack and making that 1-run move. He's proven in the past that he can kind of close from off the pace as he did against maiden $35,000 company back in March. So hopefully that's going to be the strategy. So 3rd start off the layoff and the cutback, that's the direction I'm going in.
Yeah, and a good price on him. He's 4th choice on the morning line. I went with the number 1, who you have in 2nd. That's Kirky's Dream. He's going to try these $16,000 maidens locally after getting beat ahead and a nose respectively in a pair of 12-5 maiden tests at the distance on the Gulfstream Park West turf course. The gelding seems to be a little bit stuck in 2nd gear in here. Gets in light. He's got 10-pound apprentice Chris McIntosh. Maybe the weight will help here. I mean, I'm enamored, and I agree with you 100% that if you can go deeper in this race when you're putting your Rainbow 6 or your late pick 5 ticket together.
The one thing that I do like about this horse, though, is that he has been carrying 123 pounds in the past couple of starts, and today he gets in with 113 with the 10-pound apprentice. So that's only a feather in the cap, in my opinion, and perhaps he can get off the schneid here. The 15 time maiden. Another horse that I was going to use is the outside, the 11 wind warning for the connections alone. Mike Maker brings this horse out, Javier Castellano, and this is the type of horse who could easily just kick you out of a pick six ticket if you don't have him.
Yeah, and that's the one Javier Castellano I didn't pick today, so he'll on my ticket, and he's probably the one that's going to do it. But I did go with the 10, I'm just a myth. Making his first start since hitting the board in one of 2 turf sprints here versus similar quality. But that was back during August. Dave Casson, Edgar Prado, atop the son of Exchanger, who has been firing bullets on the farm in preparation for the return. So it's a lot of guessing going on here. It hasn't run since August, been working well on the farm. Hard to gauge what those works are really like. So number 10, I'm just a myth on my ticket.
We'll take a look at the 7th race, an open $16,000 claiming event. 7.5 furlongs on the turf here as well. Make the rider Javier Castellano on the 10 JL's Princess. And this is a race that I honestly had a little bit of trouble with. So I went to a horse who I think you might be able to get some decent odds on, and that's the 8, Kelly's Little Secret, primarily because she's kept very good form on all of her turf starts, to be honest. And when she debuted on the turf, it was at Gulfstream Park West. She wound up victorious there at a nice price of 4-1. She went on to stretch out in distance of the mile. She won back-to-back. Now, last time out, they cut her back to the 5 furlongs. I think it was just too short, but I still saw some really nice late energy closing from off the pace. Now she gets back to 2 turns, 7.5 furlongs. And again, she's taken a step up to open company today. She faced open company, but the $10,000 level, whereas she's facing some class droppers today. But her turf form speaks for itself, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great price on there. You're getting 12-1, I believe, on the morning line, and then horse, it's a good selections in there. Horse that you have in second, number 10, JL's Princess, is dropping to the $16,000 level after returning from the freshening. Was 5 wide in that race against $25,000 claimers. It was across town at Gulfstream Park West. It's a daughter of Smarty Jones. She loves this turf course. She's 2 for 3 on here, and she's spotted well, I believe, by Dave Casson. You mentioned one of the horses. I think that's in a really nice spot at the $16,000 level.
Yeah, this is an aggressive spot, and I do like her in here as well. Definitely didn't leave her off my ticket. The 12 Extremis is another horse that you and I both used, and she's been facing open company and probably slightly tougher open company in the past several starts. She'll have to work out a trip from that outside post, but it doesn't look like she has too much natural speed, so she should be able to maybe take back, save some ground going into the turn.
The other horse I used was the number 4, Vipero, has run well here in the past 6 starts to win. Steps up the competition today after finishing 6th, but that was a really good race. There was a trio of next out winners. It was a key $10,000 claimer going a mile. It was across town. James Sabelli, Paco Lopez handling the turn back today to 7.5 furlongs. So the old key race, I'm going to go with that Vipero, and you know what a great job James Sabelli does.
Oh, she does. I believe you might have a statistic on
Yeah,
Jane
I do have a
Sabelli here.
statistic on this. We'll show it. If it pops up there, you see it. She's 25%, 191 starts with a layoff of 31 to 60 days, and that's exactly what this horse is doing right now. So lots of things to like about the number 4 Vipera in race number 7.
25%, that's definitely a good percentage here. As we go on to the 8th race, the maiden 12,500 claiming event, 1 turn mile, scratch the 2, good style in here, and the 4 Roraima is going to be my top selection. She takes a drop in class, and she gets the added distance here today. She's been sprinting on the main track, 6 furlongs, 5.5 furlongs, and now she has to stretch out to the 1 turn mile. It just does seem like she hasn't shown a lot of early speed sprinting, so perhaps with this added distance, that could put her into contention today. But clearly, there are a couple of different horses that are the ones to beat, including the 3 Panetta, who's taken a big drop in class from maiden $25,000 company. You go to the 1 Don's Girl, who does seem like she's going to be the speed from the rail.
Yeah, and that's the way I went with it. Break from the rail again after going a 1 turn mile. After breaking from the inside, setting the pace, fading to finish a distant third. Was again similar. That's a 2 turn mile across town. Dane Kabinski, Rafael Hernandez handling the controlling inside speed. Dane Kabinski came down here to Gulfstream Park West, and he won. It looks like he won every race. He didn't, but it seemed that way. He was first to second. He did a fantastic job. See if he can translate here. And I just thought this horse, the inside might be the right way to go. But with that said, yesterday, I don't know if the inside was the place you wanted to be. It was a drying out racetrack, was originally listed as good, but Gulfstream traditionally, the inside's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, we did see a couple of horses kind of maybe favored some of those deep closers in the earlier part of the card, but as we got to the latter half of the card, it seemed to be pretty fair. So I would expect fair conditions going into today, but she does have that controlling speed from the rail, and probably a dangerous one. Looking looking at my pick six, I left her out. I just used the 3 and the 4, and she very well could kick me out of the pick six.
Well, that's two races we both can get kicked out of the pick six, so we'll see how that works out.
We'll take a look at race 9 on the card, the feature race of the day, a nice allowance optional claiming event, 7.5 furlongs out on the turf course. And this is another one. We have the likes of the 10 Lady Zuzu in this event. She should go off as your favorite. She's coming out of Tough Stakes Company in the past several starts. I didn't really know what to make of her event in the Pebbles last time out at Belmont. You know, I went back and watched the replay. We saw the pace setter. I thought Partisan Politics got a perfect setup in that race. Kind of the top 3 finishers in the race got a perfect setup. But I didn't really see any good energy from Lady Zuzu. It almost looked like she wasn't handling the track very well. Perhaps now coming to Gulfstream, we could see a different type of filly.
Yeah, you know, I'm a forgiving sort, so this one is a multiple grade 3 stakes place daughter of Dinah Foreman making her local debut in the allowance optional claiming ranks. You mentioned that was the Pebbles. It was a $200,000 race. Looks like a good spot. Bill Mott is the trainer. John Velasquez, they hook up a lot. 12 for 37, 32% on the turf. I just thought this was the logical horse in this spot here. But, you know, you have to go a little deeper, too, in here. You mentioned, you know, maybe Comet 62 or something like that.
Well, Lady Zuzu, I think the improving thing about her is in the past 2 starts, they've actually settled her very nicely to close from off the pace, whereas in the past, you know, she was just so speedy. She would go out to the front end and just couldn't really follow through to the finish line. I like the fact that they've relaxed her in the past couple of starts, and she very well could have that happen here today. There's another horse. I did use the 8 Comet 62, but I'm going to bank on the 9 Silvery Starlet, hoping that this horse is ready to fire off the layoff. We haven't seen her since March, and that was here at Gulfstream, but she put in a really good effort behind Hot and Spicy. You look at the horses that she was running against earlier this year, and they were very good. Market Magic is another horse, has a stakes winner over the summer, I believe, got a 98 Buyer speed figure, and she just might be one that could prove fresh here. Past 5 years on the turf, 180-day plus layoff, the barn, Ralph Nix, actually hits at 14%. So I think that is kind of a feather in the cap. We can see there, small sample size, but 14 cents. It is a negative ROI, but perhaps if we don't see the same filly, Lady Zuzu, as we've seen in the past, and perhaps Comet 62, I think she could be ready and willing to fire. Do you like any long shots in here, though?
I like the 3-horse a little bit in here. Loves Illusions. Didn't run bad here last year, and I think this horse can, you know, be a factor in here and come closing late and grab a share in this race. I thought her performances last year. Well, look, she's 12 to 1 on the morning line. A horse that I'm going to use on my late pick 5 ticket.
Okay, I like the long shot. The 2 Bibby I thought was one that was interesting. I like the workouts that she's been clocking as of late. You go back to that race at Suffolk, it was on a good course and very slow early time. I went back and kind of looked at the entire card that day, and horses on the lead, it was not their day.
Right.
It was all horses who were stalking or closing from off the pace, so maybe getting to a different turf condition, we could see a different type of performance from the 2 Bibby. So that's kind of the long shot for me in that race.
Yeah, and, you know, working well at Payson Park. You know, best 2 works of bullets, 1 best of 9, 1 best of 5. And not a lot of horses at Payson Park like we have at Palmettos. But Christophe Clement, you can't go wrong with having this horse on your ticket up there at Suffolk Downs coming down. Looks like that was a perfect tune-up for this race. And I didn't realize there was this price on the board. I thought the horse was much lower.
Yeah, that could be a nice price there as well. We'll go on to the 10th and final race on today's card. Maiden $25,000 event, 6 furlongs on the main track. And drum roll, please. This is my single.
I was going to sit back and let you hear about it. Let me hear about this number 9 horse in here.
The 9, Danny's Turbo. I think you might have a statistic for this horse too, but Efren Loza just does such a fantastic job with these maiden claimer debuters. And you look at this horse's workouts, they're a little bit on the slower side, so perhaps this horse might not be able to fire. This is your statistic, though.
Yeah, look at this. He's 48%. He's 10 for 21, 48% with first-time starters. We know the Efren Loza Jr. from our summer campaign here at Gulfstream Park and Gulfstream Park West. He is deadly with first-time starters, so and that's what you have on your ticket single.
Even in general, I kind of dove into a more specific statistic here.
Right.
2-year-old first-time starters at the maiden claiming level alone. He's 3 for 3 in the exacta. And 2-year-old first-time starters over the past 2 years, he's 4 for 6, 67% positive ROI of $3.98. 5 of the 6 have been in the money. So I think those are good statistics. This horse could very well fire in his debut. But the obvious horses to also use could be the 3 3, and the 5 Summer Disco, who's dropping from the maiden special
Yeah,
weight
and that's
level.
the thing. Dropping to this $25,000 level, turning back today to 3/4 of a mile after finishing a useful seventh, I thought, in the 7 furlong maiden special weight race. Juan Arias, he's another one. He's pretty good. He's 4 for 9, 49% with the drop from maiden special weight to maiden claiming. So lots of different stats to go with here in this race. But love the fact that you're putting a first-time starter on your ticket. Danny's Turbo certainly backed up by all the stats.
Yeah, the 3 is another horse I'll be using. I think he should be relatively closer to the pace. Dropped in class to the maiden 25 level last time out, but that was on a sloppy sealed track. Now getting to a fast track, I think this horse could probably run into the mix as well.
Yeah, El Senor del El Ciolos, I think it's pronounced like that. It's an interesting named horse, and it's a tongue tie for one for our track announcer Larry Comas, but he'll handle it perfectly. Antonio Sana, MEC El Jaramillo in the saddle.
Speaking of Larry Comas, we better go. We've got some scratches and changes to talk about, but thank you for joining us here on Gulfstream today. 10 races on tap once again. The Pick 6 does start in race 5 today. Thank you again. Thank you for joining me once again here, Ron. We'll take a quick break, and Larry Comas will be right back with scratches and changes. Best of luck.